You want to save money on your next cruise? Are you affected by the government shutdown and going on a cruise? Stay tuned. Watch this video. We'll give you some ideas on how to save money while cruising on your next cruise. Well, hi, I'm Al.
And I'm Jeannie.
And we're cruising through life
With Al and Jeannie.
And we thought we'd do a quick little video on the government shutdown and how it affected us and got us thinking about exactly what we would do for our upcoming cruise. And we realized that it really applies to just about anybody who wants to cruise on a budget. And so we thought we'd do a quick video on cruising on a budget and some ways to save while cruising. We decided in our case, I am part of the government shutdown. I'm one of the ones that are working and not getting paid. So in a sense it's worse because I can't work on the side and make any side money because I'm still working a 40+ hour a week job. I'm just not receiving a paycheck for it for the last month or so. So what we decided to do is we had a cruise booked for April and the payment came due during the shutdown. And we decided to go ahead and make the payment. We decided that we were still going to go on the cruise and that we had faith and hope that the government would be back to work soon and we really wouldn't be in a bind or anything. The longer it went on, the more we look, you know, we're still doing okay, but we have to kind of keep an eye on what happens with the government shutdown as far as how much money we're going to have for extra spending money and such. So as I said, that gives us reason that we thought maybe we would look at ways to save money on a cruise. We always kind of plan on just spending whatever it takes to go and have fun. We may have a little bit of a budget, but I don't think we really budget too close or anything.
No.
And so we decided this time we kind of look and see what can we do, where can we cut back to make a difference. So what we decided, a couple places we cut back. We started with the things that we would do, I guess, at sea or not necessarily at the ports. One of the first things I think that we decided we would do is we would cut back, or we could look prior to going to see if the rooms went down. Because one of the things, most of the cruise lines, if your room goes down prior to you sailing, you'll be able to get that money back in an onboard credit of some sort. And so we'd have a little bit of an onboard credit to use for whatever we had decided to do. It could even be used for excursions for that matter.
Yeah.
But,
or help with a few drinks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Specialty coffees or that kind of thing.
Exactly. So we're kind of keeping an eye on those. We also have another cruise coming up in September. And it's the same thing on that. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on everything to see where we can save a couple dollars and it'll help us out in the future. Some of the other things I think on board we were looking at, we could go to shows.
Yep. We can, you can always find something on a cruise to keep busy. And we've actually not made a ton of time to go to any shows except for like the piano show and that kind of thing, but to go to the actual productions. So I think that we'll make a little bit more conscious effort to go to some of the major production shows. Another thing, we usually like to go to a specialty restaurant or that kind of thing. We're going to try to cut that out this time. Just eat at the MDR, which is great food, or the buffet at some points, that kind of thing. But we really enjoy the MDR, so I think that we'll try to eat mostly in there. For drinkers, as far as the Cheers package, we kind of chose not to do the Cheers package anyways for us. We did okay without it the last cruise, but for people that are kind of contemplating how to keep drinking down in price, make sure to bring a bottle of wine. If you drink that, you can each bring one. That works out kind of nice. What's another thing?
Well, I think like you said with the bottle of wine and with the alcohol, our last cruise, She mentioned we didn't buy it, but we did keep track of what we spent. And with all the port days, sometimes it can be really hard to drink your money's worth out of your alcohol package. And we did fine. We drank whatever we wanted to drink, and 5 or 6 drinks a day, and specialty drinks of coffee or whatever. We were well under our budget for that. I think that's one of the things also that we could do. We talked about bringing wine. Speaking of budget, is you can budget your money for the casino.
Yep.
I think we do that now, but we probably budget more than we need to.
Yeah.
We plan on spending $100 a piece or whatever the case may be per day.
Yeah, I think we'll stay out of the casino a little bit more this time around. Just be a little bit more mindful. We all enjoy going there and have a blast, but I think we'll just try to, ease on that a little bit and do some other stuff. So we really could enjoy the decks a lot more, or the Serenity deck, that kind of thing. There's a lot other things that we could, make use of our time and have a blast still doing. So
yeah, and I think we've actually not done a lot of that. Actually, we like she mentioned earlier, going to the shows. We haven't been to the comedy shows. We've done bingo, and we've done and again, that's a money grabber. It's one of those things that we'll stay away from. But there's other shows during the day that the ship puts on, not to mention the shows at night, the major productions. But there's different things during the day. There's tea time. There's just various shows that they put on throughout, on the Lido deck, dances, and just all kinds of things that go on.
A lot of activities, Carnival sponsored,
You could keep yourself busy all day just with that stuff. And also, we just never take time to relax, it seems. And not that that's a bad thing, but we probably could spend more time on the Serenity deck. This trip is a 7-day?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 days.
It's our
this trip.
first 7 day.
And so we should have a little bit more time. We also have more ports. And so, again, because of that, with the alcohol, like we were saying, we may have to budget to spend a little bit more on the shore that day for drinks and such. But we probably won't spend it much on the ship that day. I'm just guessing.
Kind of brings us in, I know I'm skipping on your list here, it brings us into the excursions that we choose to do or not to do. We're more than happy just kind of touring the spot that we're going to, kind of checking things out. We'll probably eat on the ship before we go out there, and maybe be a little bit more mindful for shopping or what we're going to eat and do out at the port, but we probably won't schedule an excursion this time. Those can get pretty expensive. Maybe for Cozumel, I think we're still talking about doing Mr. Sancho's or Nachi Kokum. I think that's still a pretty good value compared to doing some of the excursions in the ports. So
I think and one of the things I think we both kind of want to do is the sloth and monkey excursion.
Yeah.
And I really would hate to miss that, but we'll have to see when the time comes exactly where we're sitting. We'll be back in Belize and Roatan and that area again someday soon, I would hope. So we'll catch that on the next trip. But we're going to I'm bringing my snorkel mask, and I think Jeannie might actually do some snorkeling this time.
Yeah, I want to try it out. So I think that would be fun.
That's a great cheap way to go about having some fun, is just being able to snorkel at the beach yourself. So we'll spend some time doing that. So I think we can get by pretty good without excursions for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we've got. One of the things too, if you are traveling with kids, we're traveling alone on this next trip, which actually probably is good with the government shutdown, because if we weren't, it might be a little bit more difficult to keep everybody active and interested.
Yeah.
But
not only that, we would have to board Ralph, our dog.
That's true.
And that gets really expensive. So Mariah and Lewis are going to help watch out Ralph, which, that's very helpful. That's a cost that we don't have to afford right now. Coming up when the kids do go on a cruise, that's a big expense that our family has to look at. So.
So yeah, that's a real big deal. But if you do have kids, take advantage of the daycare. They got the daycare for the kids. They keep them active and busy.
Yeah.
And it's not just daycare. I mean, it goes all the way up to 17 years old, I believe, or 16 or 17. So I mean, it's enough that it'll keep them very active on the ship as well. And they've got free ice cream all day, and there's lemonade and drinks, and I mean, you don't even have to buy a soda package for the kids. There's plenty for them to eat and drink all day long, as there would be for us as well too if we had to.
And then ordering a soda here and there is not going to be a big deal,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's more just eliminating doing the total package. Having everyone just kind of make it on their own kind of thing, and watching what they're spending. Yep. So I think that's okay to do. The couple other things that I thought about, prior to going that could help. One of the big expenses for us is going to be airfare. Mm-hmm. Getting down to Orlando is going to be, this trip. I think it's Miami the next trip. Yeah.
I mean that's probably as much as the cruise just to buy me a Kenby. Yeah. We were looking when we started at $900 round trip for the two of us, which is nuts.
No. Yeah.
And now it's come down a little bit, but I mean we're used to paying about $250 to get to Orlando, and now it's closer to $400. So that's an expense we're going to have to suck it up and take that out of a credit card or something to do.
Yeah.
But some ways to cut back there is we have. You could bring carry-on luggage. We've watched other people do it. On other videos, friends of ours, they went for 7 days with carry-on luggage.
Yeah, we could try it. I don't know. I'm a pretty heavy packer. I like to get my 50 pounds worth right in that bag.
and that might be a little bit more difficult. And some airlines now are starting to charge you for carry-on bags as well, so we've got to look into that too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see exactly how that works, but if we did just carry on, you could wash clothes halfway through.
Yeah, and we don't mind doing that. I actually kind of like doing that.
We've washed clothes 2 or 3 times, or I shouldn't say 2 or 3, 1 or 2 times every time we've went.
Yeah.
We've washed before we've left. We've washed right in the middle, so it actually works out. And with that, we always have way too many clothes that we're taking anyway.
I think I've learned that you really don't need to overpack. As long as you have a few things you can mix and match, it's really not that big of a deal, and you don't need to stress out too much about it. So that's what I'm gonna try to do this trip around. The first cruise that we went out on, it was stressful. I overpacked. I had 4 pairs of shoes, all these different outfits, and I think we learned that you just don't need it.
Yeah.
So.
We just, and we'll see. I mean, we may end up carrying 1 big bag instead of 2 bags, but we'll have to see what happens. That would be our dog Ralph over here deciding it's time to drink water. And I'm sure you'll hear his pitter-patter feet leaving once he's done. We have an English bulldog named Ralph, who, of course, picks the most inopportune times to drink water during the day.
So another thing, carrying on with our list, bring cash. So you don't have any ATM fees. Plan for what you think you're going to budget, so you don't need to get on that ship and take anything out on one of their ATMs.
ATM fees can be fairly hefty. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think or some of the things you're going to need cash for, obviously, if you are going to give some tips to your room stewards,
right?
If you do order any drinks or anything, we usually give a little tip on the side. Yeah. Not that you have to, but we could. And that could also be done on your sign and sale.
I mean, I know it's extra, but we feel more comfortable doing $1 here, $1 there. We always tip our room steward, pretty good. We like to establish a good relationship with them, and they take care of us. We appreciate that, so we usually give them a bigger tip. So,
not wanting to bring enough cash. You want to make sure that when you go ashore, you've got enough cash for wherever you go. Everywhere takes the U.S. dollars. Yeah. So if you do plan on going ashore, that would be the other thing we were talking, is budgeting enough money not only for the casino, but budget for each port. Maybe put the cash into an envelope. Yeah. And for mark the envelope Belize, and that's the money that you use in Belize, and do that for each one of your ports probably. And if you don't spend it in one port, you can throw it in the next envelope for the next port.
We just kind of keep track.
Right, for little knickknacks or whatever the case may be, that would be a great way to do it. or your drinks or food. You know, we just got done watching a video from the Degenerate Cruisers, matter of fact, that, you know, they went to NASA and basically walked 23,000 steps in NASA, if I remember correctly, and did not spend more than what they spent basically on food in the video anyway.
Yeah.
And they had a great time.
And
They
they
seen
saw
everything.
A lot. Yeah, they saw a lot, and they really,
I mean, I would like to go see a lot of what they did. I don't know if I'll get 23,000 steps, but I would definitely like to go see and do some of the things they did. So, you know, one of the big things, again, as we talked about going into the ports and not doing excursions, make sure that you do your research before you go, what's available at the ports.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of stuff online and on Pinterest that will tell you, you know, what can you do in this port free.
Yeah.
So look that up and find out exactly, you know, what you can do and kind of plan your day that way and plan your own excursion, which is what they did and worked out really well.
Yeah.
And as far as, again, money on the ship, I think we talked about that a little bit, you know, have enough money to tip those aboard the ship. We like to do occasionally, you know, whether it be the waiters or whether it be the room stewards or whatever the case. And that's up to you how much. You are paying tips already.
Right.
You know, your gratuities are included, so you don't have to even do that, but we like to bring a little extra, so we probably will.
Yeah. So another thing that we look at, you know, everyone likes to take pictures on the ship, you know, with each other, that kind of thing. Carnival's really good about tracking you down and snapping your pictures. You're in the moment, but it costs a lot of money. So I think, you know, we're going to stick to taking our own pictures. You know, with all us creators and vloggers out there, we all have great cameras. There's no reason why we, you know, can't get couple good pictures of us. So I think we'll stick to that this trip around. Those pictures do turn out really good, but they're really expensive. So I think we're going to pass up on that this time. So tips out there, you know, have someone grab your cell phone or your camera, take a couple pictures of you. A lot of the staff will be happy to do that for you. So I think this time around.
That's very true. The staff will be happy. There's other people that are in the same boat as you are. That you take a picture of them, they'll take a picture of you.
Yep.
It actually works out pretty good. And to be honest, like I said, like Jeannie was saying, our camera is a fairly good camera that will take very good pictures.
Yeah.
And we probably don't need to get the pictures of a fake boat in the background.
Yeah.
We'll get a picture of the real boat in the background, for that matter.
Not to say that we won't do that sometimes, but I think as far as for staying on a budget, and especially this time around where we have to be a little bit more careful, and I think we'll just stick to that.
Yep.
So.
Probably now the next one is a little bit important. We've kind of talked a little bit about that already as far as not going on excursions and such. I guess actually we've talked about most of it. Jeannie mentioned that we, you know, eat lunch on board the ship. Most of those ports you get off, you can walk around, shop, and do whatever you like. And you can always go back on board the ship, eat some lunch, even relax and go back out again. You've got plenty of time to do that.
Probably still have time,
You know, you've seen a lot of vloggers will do that. They'll just go back for a little while and then go back out again. And some of these ports that you go to are very hot, and you kind of need that little break anyway.
Yep.
So it does work out very good.
The other point is that you could, you know, like Tony and Jenny, they stay on the ship. Make it a ship day. You got a lot of people out in the port, and you can roam that whole entire ship and have it almost to yourself. You can do a lot, and you can get into those crowded areas, you know, where you're always waiting in line, and you know, try out the pool or the whirlpool, that kind of stuff. So you could always stay on the ship and do that too.
Yeah, you know, and we had thought about actually doing that in NASA next time, because we have never been overly thrilled with NASA. The last time we got off, it was hot. There was a lot of people. We went up to some place and had some food that was okay, nothing great. I mean, it was, you know, it was okay, but it wasn't really, you know, our favorite port to be in.
No.
And so we had thought about staying, the next time we go to NASA, just staying on board the ship. But now that we've seen a few people get out and do some walking around and see some of the sights and
I want to go to Queen's Staircase.
Queen's Staircase looked very interesting on the video we watched last night.
Neat history.
And I think the stuff is out there. And, you know, other ways to save money too is you know, booking an excursion that's not part of the cruise ship. We haven't really ventured out that far because we're leery about making it back in time for the cruise ship. We don't want to be a pier runner.
No.
It's hard to shoot your own video of you running up the pier, so we don't want to be that person. But
No.
at the same time, there's a lot of reputable companies out there that are doing excursions, and we've got quite a few names that we've seen in places. And I'm sure we're going to start using third-party excursions. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Some other things to kind of be aware of, and this is kind of where I get a little bit more into my expertise a little bit, is, when you leave your home airport, I hope things go well for you when you leave to head down, but give yourself plenty of time to get out. If you're traveling during the government shutdown, right now, those workers, the TSA workers, are not getting paid. At my airport where I work, it's not a problem. For the most part, everybody's getting out, half hour wait, maybe at tops.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a real problem yet. As this shutdown goes on, it's going to get worse because people can't afford to come to work. We've been very lucky with the generous people and passengers and stakeholders that have donated things to gas cars to get people to work. We're doing okay. But there are other airports, such as Miami, that shut down a whole terminal. There's Houston shut down checkpoints. And there's other airports where you're hearing, an hour and a half wait to get into the checkpoint. Kind of plan on that, both for your trip down there and your trip back if it's during this government shutdown. You got to plan in airports like Orlando and Miami, these bigger airports down there. They might have to shut things down, or they may slow things down. So you got to plan on that. Don't necessarily jump on that aircraft that's leaving at noon when you get in at 8 o'clock in the morning on your ship, because you might not make it. So you got to kind of plan on that a little bit more than you would in the past, I think.
Yeah.
And along with that, kind of ties in, which actually should be maybe even first, is Customs Border Patrol. The immigration folks and everything that you go through when you get off the ship, they're the same boat as the TSA folks. They're not getting paid either. So again, these folks are working without pay, and eventually some of them aren't going to be able to make it to work. They're going to be short-staffed, and you're going to end up having to wait a little longer to get off the ship. So don't plan to get out of town as quick as normal. Maybe book that flight a little bit later. I know our next one, we're going to meet up for breakfast afterwards with some fellow vloggers, and then we're going to go out in an evening flight instead of going out on one early afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to work out better for all of us, I think, in the long run. So other than that, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we covered it.
Okay, we'd like to thank everyone for watching this video. Hopefully you got some good tips that you can use, especially during the government shutdown. But not to mention during, you can use these tips later when you're just trying to save a couple of dollars. I guess that one thing we always want to make sure we remind you is don't forget to subscribe if you like the content.
That's right.
Leave some comments down below if you would like to give us some hints or ideas on other things you would like to see, or other little tips that you could help other people that might be interested in saving a couple of dollars. And make sure that you hit the little notification bell so that you get notified whenever we do have any more videos come out. And other than that, like we always say, you only live once. You might as well do it cruising through life.